Sunday has dawned here at DreamHack Open Summer. For our last two EU teams, the pressure is on like never before. Taking to the stage, world #1's big, hoping to prove that coveted title here. And of course, versus the hungry Danes of Heroic. Both teams have fought tooth and nail to get here, guys. We've been impressed with both of these teams so far. Christine, this is going to be a banger.
This is gonna be a banger indeed. I mean, yesterday we saw Nico showing up on all cylinders. I was so impressed watching his movements. I thought his game sense was absolutely through the roof. He was literally tracking people through the walls, wall banging people, clutching out rounds. So definitely, I mean, I want to see more of that. You know, Nico being that newcomer on this Heroic lineup. He's starting to get his comfort zone. He's starting to look like a player that's always been on this Heroic lineup since day one. So that's really exciting for me.
It really is. And of course, I'm really excited to see what you guys in Twitch chat are saying down below. We want you to get your votes in. This is your last chance to get your predictions right for EU. So make sure you put in #Heroic if you're favoring the underdogs, or #Big if you're going with the current world #1s. And with that, I think we should begin talking about the underdogs of Heroic, because Potter, you were the only one yesterday who predicted them to be taking that win against Complexity. And although they started off shaky with that 16-4 loss on their own map pick of Vertigo, they completely turned it around on Mirage and Overpass.
They did. That comeback was incredible. And it was, you know, filled with some drama and some blunders, as we know and love coming out of this young Heroic squad. But take a look at tabseN, man. He's been the space maker for this Heroic lineup this entire week, picking up that double off and just really holding down the fort, especially towards that banana, especially towards that B here on Mirage. So definitely, I think picking up that double off for tabseN individually has been a huge success story for this Heroic lineup.
It really has. And of course, we can't talk about Heroic without talking about the man of the hour, Blair, cadiaN. He does everything on this roster. He has so much experience, a wealth of knowledge from playing in, you know, teams not just in Denmark, but internationally as well. And I feel like he is really bringing that skill to the team.
He has indeed, and like we can see this 4K from him. Apart from that, again, highest rated player in the team so far in this tournament, alongside Nico right below him. The thing with Heroic, which is gonna, I feel like could be a problem for them today here, is gonna be that final map on Overpass. We saw the interview with cadiaN. I know there is a caveat that both Complexity and Heroic had not played Overpass. Heroic had never played Overpass in this lineup for that matter. But the nervousness coming out from that in a scenario like this, we saw the mistake, the 1v4 kind of had it on a silver platter to blame us. You cannot afford to make mistakes like this. So cadiaN, I like the guy, he's fun, but he needs to rein his players in when it matters the most. That is going to be, of course, today.
Well, speaking of the devil, we had a chance to check in with cadiaN ahead of this match, so let's see how he's feeling.
20 seconds on the clock as they look to try and make the flavor up. Just holding strong as he drops 3 kills within a space of a second.
Feels amazing to be in the grand final of this DreamHack. It's the first tournament of the new season, so it's super important to get a good start. So I guess you couldn't ask for much more than being in the final. Well, the semi-final was crazy roller coaster, to be honest. As soon as we hit overtime, I knew that we were going to win that series. They threw away a pretty big lead, and I felt like that gave us the momentum boost we needed. Constantly, we were not quite sure if we would be able to make it back, and when we did, we had the economy, we had the momentum, and we made a good plan, and yeah, we went with it.
A couple of moments ago with the deagle, rifles have been stored as well, but now he holds again. They come in towards him, holding from Jill. He will get 1 kill onto Rush, the bomb on the floor. He's going to look for a little bit more. Obo, the second victim to the M4, and they keep coming. That is incredible from Stan that he finds 3 kills.
Oof, we're playing big in the final. The world's #1 team. We're definitely the underdogs here, but we're not going to give them any space. We'll be there up in their faces. We'll give them our everything.
It's cadiaN holding in the bathrooms for this initial kill. Setup looks strong. cadiaN with the first kill. Looks for a second. Quick scope lands. And cadiaN keeps going. 3 kills on the hold. And he could be sending Complexity packing here, the in-game leader.
We haven't won a DreamHack since Atlanta, and that was a special feeling lifting the trophy in front of the fans. So yeah, DreamHack tournaments has a special place in our hearts, and we'll definitely give it our everything.
It's been an emotional roller coaster indeed, cadiaN. But of course, that roller coaster does not stop here. You've got to face up against the side of Big. And Christine, yesterday, I mean, throughout the whole entire tournament, they have seemed so stellar. But we did see them get a little bit tested by OG yesterday.
They did get tested, and I'm so glad that they actually got tested because you're right, Freya. They've had kind of a breeze, I think, coming out throughout this week, and that's kind of been the storyline for these big lineup in 2020. Every single tournament that they've attended in 2020, they've made it to the finals. They've either gotten first place or second place. So certainly a hot start coming into 2020. And there's been some questions after that player break, what form these individuals are going to be on, but they're hitting on all cylinders. This man on your screen here, Keto, one of the newer additions along with Searson on this big lineup, he's absolutely been killing it. This round in particular, he got 3 kills with that AK, picks up the AWP and goes for more. So certainly that bloodthirst, that hunger coming out of these newer players on this big lineup have really elevated all of Big to that next level that they've been looking for.
Exactly, indeed. And I feel like, at the beginning of the tournament, we did have a few question marks surrounding tabseN. He wasn't coming out that hot, maybe a bit of rust after the player break. But sudaN, yesterday, he really stepped up. We saw the tabseN that we know and love, and that's what I feel like could be so dangerous coming into today, because when they faced Heroic previously, tabseN wasn't on at all.
The thing with tabseN, right? I'm just gonna look at the ratings that these 5 players have so far in this event. You have Xantares and Searson, top fragging, top rated, 1.21. Great stuff. Keto, right below the 1.14. tabseN in-game leader, is 1.03. He still does his job. tabseN is the lowest rated player in the server right now on both the teams. Especially when you're just counting this event putting this event into context. Here's a cool thing. He also has the highest flash assist success for Big. He does his job. It's not always going to be pretty, it's not going to be flashy, but it does its job. And this team, when it requires it the most, they all step up. We saw that against OG yesterday as well, the way everyone just popped off. And that is why this team is so scary. They're a very good tactical team, but they also have the individuals.
It really is indeed. And speaking of individuals, we had a chance to catch up with tabseN to get his thoughts ahead of this one.
Is not going according to plan for OG. tabseN mopping them up.
Of course, it feels amazing to be again in the grand final. After such a special game, it was a really hard one.
The man advantage in play for Big, and now they're looking poised to pick map point. Damage done onto the players in the tunnels. Xantares spraying away, gets a second, nearly the third onto Mansour. He's lucky to be alive, but it's Xantares who eats them up.
Yeah, bounce back international gaming. I mean, it's a good nickname, I would think. I mean, even if you have bad starts, at least for us, it doesn't really matter what the score is. If the enemy doesn't have 16 rounds, it's not over yet, and that's how we feel. We know we can win every single round. If it's a full eco from us, if it's a full eco from them, a full buy from them, it doesn't matter for us, to be honest. We just focus on our game, and we know how good we can be.
Xantares about to come around the side. They just run past him. They just run right past. It's MBK and Mansour going to follow up Xantares. That is beautiful.
As everyone can see, Heroic is a good team for sure. They beat Complexity now. I think they want revenge against us, and we will do everything that we can do to avoid that.
And Issa, the man that turned this around for the side, he's still alive as well. Both of these players doing so much, but Keto dives down out of the apartment.
Heroic, nice to see you again. I hope we will have a very good game. I think the fans will definitely enjoy it, and we will, of course, as well. So have a good game, guys, and see you in the server.
From the firebox, and they get rid of Xantares. It's just tabseN now. 1 versus 2 to save Big to tie things up, and he's done it. 14-14.
Full focus for tabseN and the Big side going forward, but we have of course got to focus on the map pool. And Christine, there's been a bit of debate about this one, hasn't there? Where are you standing with this?
I think for Big, it's obvious they're going to veto out that train, but Heroic, this is where a lot of questions are going to come out for these guys. I know that Overpass, it's a newer map for them, but hey, it's a newer map for Big. So I don't think Heroic should veto that out. I think they're going to veto out that Dust 2 and let that Overpass float once again. It's all going to come down. Flip?
I don't think so. I think they're going to ban an Overpass. Oh, they are.
Dun,
all right,
dun,
Potter.
dun.
You got what he wanted. That's very ballsy. That is so ballsy.
It's a good argument though, Bled. It's definitely a good argument. That Overpass, now it's all up to whether Big had the cojones to pick it out. They've never picked it out ever in any of their series, but they've won it each time it's been picked against them.
Nice.
So here it is, Big coming out into this series and picking that Overpass first. I love this. I love this. It should be a punish for Heroic, but once again, Heroic are fully aware of this. They allowed this to happen. They vetoed out that Dust 2 first, so this should be a banger. And I have to mention also again, Heroic yesterday on all of their gun rounds on the CT side, minus that blunder, were in full control. They won out most of those rounds with a lot of dominance. So this is exciting. This is already starting off really exciting for me.
The little bit of a surprise for me here is Mirage maybe not being banned out by Heroic, because I could clearly see how Big were struggling a little bit on that CD side of theirs. Yeah, great comeback coming out from the T side, but they were struggling getting some of these openings. It was also helped out by the fact that OG were playing very passive. So I wouldn't have been surprised to see Heroic kind of punish Big by forcing them to play Mirage if it does go to it. But still, Nuke I think is a map that Heroic are very comfortable with, so are Big. But I love this. I love how when it comes to the grand finals, Heroic's like, you know what, screw it. We're not going to play safe. We're going to test you. We're going to see what you got. This is cool. I like it.
But that's the perfect time to do it, right? And if you have to do it, it's got to be in that grand final, which I think begs the question, where are we laying in terms of our predictions? Suden, where are you going?
Have to go with good old Berlin International Gaming. Gotta believe in these guys. No matter what happens, they have what it takes. And I feel like they are tactically and even individually right now better than this Heroic lineup.
And what about you, Posse?
I have to echo that as well. I have high hopes for Heroic. I think this is going to be a banger series, but Big, they should be winning this series out.
Well, I would love for Heroic to take it, but my head is telling me to go the way of Big. So I think it's going to be a clean sweep across the board for us, at least on the desk. But let's take a look at our Twitch chat prediction poll as well to see exactly where they're lying. 88% going with Big. Okay, we know where the crowd are. But I think with that, you know, we've got our predictions, we've got our maps, and now all there is left to do is to get into this beautiful game. A rivalry like no other is about to ensue. And with Cold Hard Cash on the line, this showdown is promising to bring the heat. World number one's Big are hungry to prove that title, but can the underdogs of Heroic stop them in their tracks? Find out after this.
It is Championship Sunday, it is summer, and we are ready to bring you guys the exciting game of Heroic versus Big. We got the shirts, we got the game almost going live. It's going to be an interesting one. My name is, of course, Risk, joined alongside Tom Biz. And Tom Biz, how are you doing this fine day?
I'm very excited. I got to cast Heroic yesterday. I basically got both grand finals. I didn't get to cast Complexity, but I got to see Heroic place against OG. I'll be honest, it was a little bit underwhelming with a 16-3 trouncing of them on train. Now we get what I will call the real grand final. This is the chance for Big to assert their dominance. Well, the one thing I will say, Risk, we sort of heard cadiaN talk about the last time they wanted DreamHack open. And that was in Atlanta. I don't know if you remember, but I definitely remember that finals because I think we were casting that one as well.
We were casting the same thing, yeah.
Maybe a good luck charm.
Yeah, I've bunch of the Danish fans read out to me and say that I'm the lucky charm for Heroic in DreamHack finals. So, but I still think I still think the logical argument has to be that Big is the favorite for this one. I don't think there's any way around it. They are the world number one, and we have started already with Nico pushing out aggressively, and Keita also being caught off guard here. Will he catch 2? No. So it's going to be a 4v2 advantage for Heroic in the pistol.
Yeah, very audacious strategy to kick things off. 4 men running in the connector and then Borup basically holding the line. And we've mentioned tabseN in terms of his individual abilities, not quite been there with the rest of the squad. They're going to need him in this round. If he can find Borup, it at least makes things a little bit more interesting, but he doesn't expect him to just be lurking around that back corner. Zontara as though the headshot machine looking for a little bit more. Does have to be wary, though. There's still a player behind him. He's managing to isolate them. If thankfully Nico at just 3 HP will be there to close it out, but it's always scary when this man's around.
Yeah, that's one of the things you have with Big in general, that they have these players in tabseN and tabseN who can, in very specific duels and very specific moments, be some of the best aimers in this game on this planet. And that's something that Heroic has to watch out for, especially when they are playing here on Overpass, a map that Heroic as a team hasn't had that much practice on. So it's going to be a tough time.
Even without a bomb plant, we're actually going to see the investment back in here from Big. So clearly wanting to put the pressure on a little bit earlier. It will be a Galil for Zontares, but everyone else, well, I'd say everyone else. Everyone except cadiaN has a bit of a weaker purchase. cadiaN with the scout, I think at this point we can pretty much say is a 4-buy.
That is the standard, pretty much. He is, well, okay, he's just taken out by cadiaN. I was about to say, in my opinion, the best scout player in the game, but then cadiaN just ruined that argument.
Been challenged early in the match. Scout's been retrieved, but this now comes down to damage. Realistically, not much of a chance for this round to be won, and well, Testis gets tagged, so does cadiaN. Could make this a little bit costly, but eventually Nico's there, and it will be a 2-0 start for Heroic.
Yeah, they're very happy about this. In these kind of rounds, it's, as you say, it's about limiting the economy damage that the opponent is trying to do to you. Surviving with 5 players is perfect, especially with right now Big sitting on 1850, 1750, 700, buying down to that to get those deagles. So you know you're going to be up against some pistols, and that means that the Scout, the FAMAS, even the Galil and the MP9, that's fine. You can bring all those weapons into this round. They're just saving so much money right now. Good nade usage as well. Keto down to 44. Holding down the mid. But rotating it back, just allowing the T side to control this part of the map.
Yeah, something we spoke about a little bit previously was obviously you have some slight insider knowledge being a Dane and a Danish team currently playing. The Overpass pick was something that, well, not necessarily surprising for Big being left in, but it was more the fact that it had been left in.
Yeah.
Are you surprised by this? Okay, I'm surprised by these kills. I might have to put this on pause.
Yeah, let's put that argument on pause because this round just got hella interesting. Deagles coming in from Big. Even though cadiaN hit a couple of nice scout headshots, it's still a 3v3, so this is still doable. The bomb is still in the control of cadiaN. They're trying to go for the speed bomb side where Nico and stabseN will be the duel watching.
Flank currently being held, and the real benefit of Overpass is the ability to basically change your mind. And that seems to be happening at the moment for the T's. They're going to start probing in the other direction. stabseN going to wait here patiently, and Nico's actually getting a little bit more aggressive. I think they might have had a little bit of an inkling that it's going in the other direction, and Zontares can't sell this fake. But with nothing else here, I do wonder if the timing might not quite be there. Testis, I think, has realized that they are going to be coming in this direction, and with 20 seconds left, they're just going to go for the bomb plant. That would be absolutely fine. This is already a successful round. 2 kills, an after plant, and now Big in with a real chance. Already with 1 man falling, tadiaN, all he has to do is just try and deny that defusal. The problem here is they do have kits on all of the remaining players, and Nico is going to make this one fairly easy in the end. As said, this is already a successful round for Big. Their money's going to be booming in the next risk, and well, it will be a 3-0 start for Heroic.
And to continue the argument that we were talking about before the deagle started going crazy, is that we have to remember all teams just started a whole new season, coming off, of course, the player break, and then starting practice for Heroic, what was like 2-3 weeks ago, actually 2 weeks ago. So they have definitely started working on some of the problems they have in their map pool. And one of the problems they have always, you look towards your insta-ban, is there any chance that we can take any advantage from that? Can we remove that as an insta-ban? Can we try and play more maps? Can we maybe even out the map pool so opponents are not sure exactly what to pick against us and what to leave open? So that definitely leaves something open now that they're not banning this one in the veto process. Down will survive that. So I think all teams in the future have to keep in mind that Heroic now has the potential, and well, one would guess that they potentially had practiced a lot in these last couple of weeks. So vetoes are going to be very interesting going up against Heroic in the future. But now we have the buy round. Nothing has happened just yet. Just a tiny bit of damage on the board, but cadiaN here, ready with the first one, but will lose the duel.
They have 4 players on B right now, and 2 of them have orbs. This is a bit of a weird setup for Heroic. Like, a double op setup is something that can come in on Overpass, but definitely not like one of the necessities that we've seen on maps like Mirage or Train, where it's very common indeed. It's one of them where you see like a few select players. Putting them both on B, that's almost unheard of. I think this was just a gamble that they took after the initial spots of players. But I do wonder if that's going to be a big part of Heroic's game plan, is to take these big risks, to stack the sites, leave Tess as the solo defender. By the looks of things, they are going to come under pressure on this B side. tabseN looking to try and open things up. He's gone through the smoke. He's found absolutely no one, but Stown will be caught on the edge. Looking for a little more as it's cadiaN and keto to combine, but cadiaN from above, he's going to find a second. There goes cadiaN, and it is left on to TeSeS. Probably the man you'd want in these sort of situations. A rise to form, but he can't quite stop Xantares. It will be big getting their first round on the board. And you have to think just maybe a few seconds longer of that stack, and maybe Heroic have all the right pieces in the right places.
Yeah, once again, a very big S kind of execute with them placing the strategic smokes down and then having this kind of pop flash that the CTs can't really turn their back towards. So they create a lot of confusion inside the site, which allows the first player to come in and take the frag, eventually being traded. But at that point, they're already in towards the bomb site. So very big S, and I love to see these strategies, these executes come out for them. It's just such a nice thing to see. So organized. Definitely one of those things that if you want to, like, if you're playing on a team, want to break down that demo, see what they're doing. tabseN will challenge here, but that's the one way I feel like for Stown, he should be dead, and he will be. And that's very hard to identify, that one-way smoke. And it's also very hard for us to see exactly how it works.
Already a lot of damage being done.
Oh, wow.
Down, holding the line. He's going to get 2, but the trades come back and leave. Wow, just 2 remaining now. A trade from cadiaN, and it's all on to keto. We were talking about his 4Ks the last time we got to watch him play, and he has been a staple of this big roster throughout the tournament. Would be a pretty impressive one, but he has a lot of time. He could just try and wait for someone to peek him. Bore up low on HP, and with an SMG is definitely one of the weaker players to find, but he's not going to spot him out. Heroic break back instantly. They retrieved the second AWP as well, which was something we didn't really have time to mention, but going into that round, they had a pretty weak purchase off of the investment into that double AWP. So risks being taken fairly early on from Heroic, but I quite like it. I think they know in this sort of map, they have to try a few extra things from what their normal, I guess, strat book.
Yeah, and also because they might not be that confident in their T side yet, they have to get a lot of rounds on the CT side where they can rely on the communication and the rotations, not as much on the strategy itself. So I feel like they have to get 9, maybe 10 rounds on the CT side Heroic to feel just slightly confident going into that second half.
Well, speaking of confidence, a hell of a lot of map control taken, and it's actually not a full investment here. Maybe they expected a little bit more money to be on the board for big, so maybe slightly riskier position to be in than if this was a normal round with rifles in play. He's actually going to start sneaking past, but there's the timing. TeSeS does a lot of damage, but he doesn't get the kill. They're going to come back for this rifle, though, and they don't expect Nico to be here, and he's the eco-frag king. He is just wrecking him, leaving them back. He's dropped the bomb. Now, tyazian's basically just taken this as, okay, this is my chance to do damage. I don't necessarily need to be worrying about the bomb at this point, and I'm just going to try and get some kills. So that's exactly what he does. He finds the AWP of cadiaN. Again, a player within the bank is going to hear every single footstep he makes, and I think he's not long for this world. Sound will be behind him, and Nico will eventually close out the round. The thing is, though, I think they still lose an AWP here, Risk.
Yeah. So let's see. They have 3 weapons still coming out towards the next round, so it's definitely not a bad scenario. And they're still going to gain some money, but having to rebuy that AWP if they want to is a, choice. And no, they actually can't. Actually, to be honest, I wouldn't really like them rebuying that AWP. I think they did have money with cadiaN on 27, spending 2 grand, so they could have dropped it over exactly if they wanted to, but he would have no nades. But also, I don't like them playing that every single round. You have to change it up on the CT side. And now cadiaN with an AWP with no utility.
Both teams in these early rounds have definitely had their struggles, and as you mentioned, like for big in this scenario, they're going to feel really confident going into that second half. So they're looking for, say, 6-7. As you said, it's not, they don't need a massive amount of rounds, but it's been a strong start for Heroic. That is terrifying, though. It's a big tag onto Xantares as well, but Nico, well, that might be a risk not worth taking. And you can see Stown already trying to make that trade almost instantaneous. The nade is dunked straight onto cadiaN as well. This is a lot of damage being done by Zontaris, but eventually he falls. The rest of the team, though, fairly patient, waiting in the connector, not making their presence known. Well, until tabseN does that.
Oh, wow.
He's actually going to get a second. That's 2 players now killed through the same wall.
And Zontaris actually doing so much of the damage through. I think that was like at least 40, right? I think it was also about 60 because he had, I think, 4 bullets through the wall. So Zontaris doing so much damage, but Tess is on the opposite side of things. Cannot stop the German train towards the site. tabseN and the boys are ready to watch this. Bomb will go down. Borup is down. Probably should save here. Yeah, that will be the case. So Big will get the second round. And Big, of course, only playing 3 maps on, or three games on this map, recorded at least. And 52% of those rounds are won on the T side. But you also have to take into consideration that some of those games, which was won 16-8 and 16-10, were starting on the T side. So you didn't have as much time to play on the CT side anyways. But usually, teams on the pro level who know how to play this map will favor the CT side in, let's say, around a 60-40 percentage. So being behind 2-5 is not terrible, but if Heroic are allowed to press further on and get 8, 9, 10 rounds on this CT set, then that becomes a problem for Big.
Yes. Both the entry kills they managed to get through the exact same wall. Those are frags you really can't afford to give away. And again, we're going to see one of these weaker purchases. Now, they managed to win one straight back. We're going to get the boost as well, which was used to clear out Heaven. The thing is, though, at this point, it's not normally checked, but they're going to go for the other boost. cadiaN, though, maybe shoots a little bit too early. Isn't going to get that free frag. Of course, that's something that teams now have to be fairly wary of. A counter to that boost, but also if you are just lurking around in Heaven, it's not too successful. These are the plays we've seen a lot recently, though, from cadiaN. These risky individual peaks. No support, none needed, as he's going to go running his tail all the way back. He just about makes it around the corner before he gets traded.
He's such an interesting player, cadiaN, because he has never been touted as one of the big individual talents of Denmark, especially not on the AWP role where you have younger players who have far quicker reaction speed. But when it comes to the big games, this guy steps up. He has the experience. Let's see if he can take down Keto. Close range. Oh, that's a nice Ferrari peek coming in from Keto there. Straight to the face of cadiaN. tabseN dueling with a deagle of Tessus. Will be shot in the back, and Nico coming in with 1. Bob also trading back, so now 3v2.
Yeah, they've managed to rectify this quite well after the loss of cadiaN maybe came a little bit sooner than they might have expected. Leave some vulnerabilities, though. Currently only 1 man on this A site. There is a rotation coming back from Nico, who should be there in time. And Borup knows this, so he's not going to face any risky angles. The whole goal here is just to try and deny Big as much as humanly possible. And they're actually going to have to push through this. So they will now be aware of where this peak is coming on. Borup is so well placed. The timing couldn't be better. And now tabseN's left alone. No real chance for him. A bomb plant would be nice, but he's not going to be given that gift. 6-2. Heroic not allowing them to streak any rounds together. And well, I feel like Big are actually getting caught out in quite a lot of these duels. Like the first one, did you see it there? cadiaN taking a face. Nobody expecting it. The second one, almost exactly the same from Borup, peeking around into the toilet. So I wonder if that's almost part of their strategy is, okay, maybe we don't feel necessarily completely confident on this map. So let's try and displace Big a little bit with some more aggressive plays.
And then when it comes to the end of the round, where you can kind of more like figure out what's going to go, what's going to happen and stuff like that, you can put it down to your utility usage. You can play smart. Like that Molotov thrown from Nico from the stairs towards long, that Molotov is worth its weight in gold because that totally stops whatever Big were doing. It was like 23 seconds on the clock. They either have to wait and then play very, very low time, or they have to put it out with the smoke and totally reveal their position and lose the smoke in the process. That Molotov is so key. And that's the thing, right? If you don't know a map as well, when it comes down to a 2v2, you can start thinking about things. You have all the different scenarios in your head. You don't have that in the beginning of the round. That's a good nade. Zontaris down to 53. Heroic, they're looking fine. This is not like super duper deep tactical knowledge of the map, but they're doing everything they need to kind of counter Big on it.
See, they're being a little bit more aggressive in some of their plays into middle. It gains them an awful lot of information, allows them to keep this 3-man stack on the B side, allowing to move too far. And the nade almost fakes things out. It gives Tessus a freebie. The problem is most of the time it's been a one and done. However, he will double up, even looking for the third. tabseN caught with a nade in hand, and while the nade doesn't do nearly enough damage for that to be worthwhile, somehow he takes 0 damage from that.
That makes no sense. But when you talk about utility, that flashbang assist from cadiaN was absolutely key. Tessus was almost caught in no man's land if that flash didn't come through, because there were the rotations coming up from Connector, and there was a player at Fountain. When that flashbang comes in, he can peek the Fountain player, and then he can dance around and take the Connector angle afterwards. Such a nice little assist there coming in from cadiaN. Of course, very well executed by Tessus as well, but without the flashbang, Tessus would have been caught like dead in that situation.
Somehow he's managed to escape. But that's the scary prospect here. Like, he has 3 HP. He's taken down, or 2 HP. He has taken down 3 different members of this big clan. And more importantly now, they've just got to save. There's 15 seconds left on the clock. The money, once again, is going to be in a bit of an awkward state. And, well, although the loss bonus will have come back a little bit, the problem is they're winning rounds in between. And that's sort of the only way that you can actually have poor economy in Counter-Strike nowadays, is if you sort of stagger your victories with a few losses in the middle.
7-2 already now becoming a difficult scoreline for Big to handle, because you at least have to imagine, like, Heroic, they're going to get 1 or 2 rounds just off of individual stuff, or maybe a small mistake on Big's side during the rest of this half. So they're definitely going to get around 8-9 rounds, that's for sure, unless Big do something crazy. So they have to get something started right now. This is not going to be the round. Yes, it's the force buy, and it's on the back of these 2 safe weapons, but it's not a great buy. And if they lose this, they're going to have a full eco. Tito taken down to 21 HP. The nade will not kill him. The rest of the team... Oh, that's a perfect grenade as well. Down coming in close. 1, maybe the secondary as well. The AWP in the hands of cadiaN will take him out, but Tessus' rotation is perfect. Not accounting for tabseN picking up the AWP though. And now cadiaN with the deagle dancing around, trying to land a headshot, moving in aggressive, and cannot land anything. Sneak was not waiting for that flash at all, and Borb will finish things off. Tom, this is looking tough for the big clan, because now 3 members can't buy fully. This has to be like a deagle or a Tech-9 eco.
Yeah, they invested a fair amount into that last round to try and almost balance the cash a little bit. But when we're getting into round number 10/11 now,
yeah,
if you're trying to balance out cash and you're 8-2 down, that is not a good sign. And you have to remember, this should be the freebie, right? This should be the map where we go, okay, Big have got this one in the bag. Now, there's nothing saying they can't win the next one. In fact, when they played earlier in the tournament, they did. But it was a very, very close game. And there are a few clutch rounds from the likes of Kido that if you remove them, anything can happen. The pistols do a lot, and his Tessus to just mow them down. 3 kills. Sure, Zontaris gets the kill and a rifle, which could at least make things a little bit more interesting. But if he goes down even with anything less, this could be getting out of control.
Zontaris is one of those players who can almost make a clutch round out of nothing. cadiaN has also picked up an AWP now, so this is definitely interesting for Big. They can get something done. Slide edge towards the left side of the bomb site, and he can actually just sneak his way in here, cadiaN. Will eat a little bit of grenade damage, but still alive, and Borup has decided to hold the defensive angle with Nico all the way out towards long. Who'll win the same duel? Nico will. Ready and waiting, controlling his aim. Borup goes into the crosshair of cadiaN. 1v1, just escapes around the corner. 40 seconds to go. cadiaN on the hunt. He's trying all the tricks in the book. Bomb picked up, but Nico on the other side of the smoke, and the rotation is coming in from the other teammate. It's down. 30 seconds to go. I don't think there's any way he can make it towards B now.
I do question if they think he's just gone back the other way.
Oh, now he makes noise. Stown definitely.
Yeah, that definitely gives things away for Stown, but he gets past, and if he runs the gauntlet, he can get the plant. There is enough time for cadiaN to do this, but the rotation's already there from Nico, who's going to make his way towards heaven. The bomb is going to be planted, but there's nades coming back through, and he'll just about get it. Blinding in the flames, he hits the shot, though, and this gives him a chance. Him facing off against Stown, just 13 HP. This looked impossible just moments ago, but cadiaN somehow brought it into contention. Stown deciding to lurk within the smoke, and he will have heard the drop. So we'll have a decent idea of where tabseN is going to be as he looks for the pick. He misses though. May get a second chance. He hits the no-scope through the wall. tabseN with the 1 versus 3 clutch that never should have happened. Heroic have given up a round, and well, it's a man we've highlighted many times, but not for reasons like this.
The impossible becomes possible. That round from tabseN, there was just no way he should have won that. In so many senses of the word, that should have been a heroic round, but what a way to go with it. The last no scope as well, very nicely done. He chooses the correct timing as well to run, when to walk, when to not make noise, when to make noise, how to play the smokes. Everything just worked out in the favor of tabseN. What a great play, and hopefully this can ignite a fire in Big. Hopefully this is what creates the comeback here on the T side, so at least can get 7 rounds on the T side and go with a chance of getting this one, this first map, their map choice in the bag.
Well, yeah, maybe tabseN was just saving it all for the grand final, because right now he's out fragging both cadiaN and tabseN in just 1 round. He got 3 kills. That's what they have total. This man has come out of nowhere and pulled off a massive surprise. And that's the terrifying thing. That's already done enough damage to Heroic's economy to make this buy a little bit dicey. And if that puts the wind into, well, maybe a tabseN, maybe even into a cadiaN, this could be a very different match very quickly.
And now it's Borup who has to hold the position. He has the nade ready, but not throwing it down. This could prove fatal, but the flashbang is not good enough. Xantares makes his way in towards the site. AK-47 in hand will clear every single player on this bomb site. Xantares, what a beast. cadiaN, there's nothing you can do, mate. It's done.
The money gone as well. That is all their money just disappears in 2 rounds. It was a clutch, as said, that an incredible one off the back of tabseN, and now he's walked into this site, and sure, it was Xantares that we saw on our screens, but he also got 2 openers as well. Yep. Having a very good game, 89 ADR, and well, I think that might be about to get a little bit higher. As said, this is a B stack, not much invested. In fact, just a single Zeus.
Yeah, this is the classic full eco. There's no way around it. We have around 2K. You can definitely get a buy going if you do a full eco. So everyone's just on the same page saying, okay, we're probably not going to get this round. Let's see what we can get out of it. Can we deny 2 weapons? Can we deny some utility? Can we make them think a little bit about their strategy? Like this is already a lost round for Heroic. All that matters now is what kind of scraps they can grab from the table.
A little bit messy from Peter, but you know he can afford it in this round. It's just a confidence building position. But you sort of mentioned, we were looking at a spot just moments ago where the likelihood is we'd see 9+ rounds for Heroic.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised, Risk, if this half ends 8-7.
It would be very normal if you look at the big statistics and how they're good at creating comebacks from almost nothing. And saw tabseN say it in the interview, they believe they can win every single round. As long as they have 5 players in the start of the round, they believe they can win it. And yeah, they have that chance now. They have that chance of grinding it back. I do, though, when you flip it on its head, believe at some point someone is going to make a fight for Heroic with weapons. And I think it's going to be, I would guess, on a 9-6 instead of an 8-7, but let's wait and see.
Oh, there's definitely been some slow starters for Big, but luckily, it seems like they may have just come alive at the right time. A chance to bring this half back into contention. And, well, something that we've seen quite regularly from Heroic so far is this double orb setup. For now, they can't afford a single one. And it does mean they're going to change things up a little bit. Connector is where they're going to be heading. Going to have to face off against tabseN, who's lurking around the edge of the smoke. It looks like they're actually going to be going for a boost. This could be a problem. He's spamming on the edge. But hasn't quite made his way through just yet. The nade could actually do a lot of damage. In fact, he's hit them. That's almost 100 damage with 1 HE. A little bit of luck that's gone a long way. And definitely not the start Heroic we're looking for.
Very close for Nico to hitting the wallbang onto Xantares and moves just in time. He's sure that he's there. He heard one of the sound cues, but you cannot always be exactly sure of the specific position. And now the Tessus and cadiaN duo have moved over towards the long A. Double stack in the corner. That's not usually something we see. If there's a pop flash over here, these two guys are dead. Let's wait and see. keto will be the first man. 3 guys coming in. cadiaN grabs that first one. No, it will be keto double entry. That simply has to be at least a kill for those 2 guys. This round is over now. This should be a save. But then again, like, we have to be really nice when good stuff happens. In that situation, Tessus and cadiaN, they need at least to trade 1 kill.
Yeah, I think Tessus is playing anti-flash there. So because there wasn't a flash, he doesn't turn. cadiaN doesn't hit his shots. And, well, that means both of them are dead.
Yeah. It's a gamble, but in every scenario like that, you should always have to think of all the different ways this could play out and at least trade 1 for 2. That's the actually tadiaN and the boys. They're hunting. Not gathering a lot of frags right now, but tabseN will come in.
Ooh.
Gather a couple.
Goes from bad to worse. NiKo, I don't think there's much of a chance of him holding on to this rifle either. It's a 6th on the board now for Big.
Yeah.
4 in a row for the German roster.
You're gonna be right,
look
Tom.
at the money. Look at the money.
Right. It's gonna be 8-7.
You're trying to jinx it. I know you don't
No,
believe it.
no,
but
I actually believe in that. This is no way. Like, they're gonna have to hit some insane deagle shots right now if the CT side should get this round. And they're not even, well, they're buying 1 deagle. So, Tessus, it's on you, my man.
This is your boy for this round. Invested further in the utility. Going to see them get a little bit more aggressive. They're going to try this boost once again. This is much faster, though, from Big. They're already taking some control. However, this actually hands a weapon away. And a fairly fast flank. Looks like you have jinxed it, Risk, because there's already 2 kills coming in. Xantares does have other ideas, but not for long. As keto, tadiaN, all that remains. tadiaN in a passive position, still just holding onto the bomb, and keto looking desperately to try and find some sort of opener back, but they've all retreated. I think they expect the bomb to have gone in the other direction. Molotov will go down, and that's actually very well placed. That moves 2 players out of position. And Barup, he almost dies from that alone. 1 Molotov doing so much damage. And this actually hands an after plant position to Big. Still a hell of a lot to do in this round. But we are going to witness.
Yeah, I was about to say, tadiaN with the AWP in a great position. This is definitely a big chance round for the Germans. Holding the right angle, keto also in a perfect spot. This should be round number 7 for Big, unless cadiaN and the boys do something crazy about it. tadiaN now, 1v1, Tom.
Oh, 1v2. There's
Oh,
still
1v2,
a couple left for him to play with. As the flashbang comes through, they're trying to get on that diffuser, but I don't think it matters. They don't have a kit. It's going to be 7 anyway. There wasn't enough time for Heroic, and the comeback is almost complete. They get themselves 5 rounds in a row as Big almost even things up. We'll see how they do on their CT side in the second half.
In classic big style, the comeback happened. And now they're just down with 1 round despite Heroic's great start. We're still battling it out on DE Overpass. The map choice of Big Clan, the next one will of course be Inferno, the map choice of Heroic. But let's see what the pistol round brings us. Is it going to be more the same for Big? Or are Heroic going to take their turn on the T side?
Well, yeah, that sort of victory in, what was it? I think it was like round 11 or 12, just came out of nowhere. And I think it put Heroic pretty much flat on their face. They didn't manage to win a single round since then. And hoping we will see them break back here. cadiaN already spotting around from heaven, but the rest of the team are already pressuring in mid. So realistically, this means a full retake has to ensue. Now, they do have the kit available, but it is on that one isolated man. The rest, all looking to make a play through the connector. Tessa is going to be watching that angle. Nice shot from cadiaN, though. And this could make things awkward. It leaves NiKo with a hell of a lot to do. And the spray's just not good enough. cadiaN with another. He had a slow start in the last half, but bringing 2 back already in the pistol could make things tough for the Danes, as there's another for Zontares down, and cadiaN trying to hold on. They found a couple of picks back. In fact, it's not on to just one. cadiaN has to try and do it all, and he's just not hitting the shots. He does, however, find cadiaN looking for the knife, though, as the time isn't there. And in a 3v5, they hold it down.
What a round as well from Stown. Almost getting knifed in the end, but keeping it cool under pressure. As we do see Zontares, very desperate attempt, but very real attempt. Coming in there and getting the knife frag done. Heroic will win the pistol. And one thing we have to mention as well is that Heroic, they have limited practice on this map. That also means we saw it in the end of the CT half. They kind of get figured out. So we're going to see the first couple of defaults, the first couple of rounds towards the T side. Big probably are not going to be as comfortable, but as we move on into the deeper ends of the half and towards the ends of this map, Big are going to have a fairly good idea of what's going on. And it seems like in this default, at least, no one is holding Tessas, and it's because everyone is towards this other bomb site. cadiaN, Down, both opening up, cleaning up shop, and all this money spent will be next to nothing worth. Armor and Scout saved on cadiaN, and Eagle Smoke saved on tabseN.
Nice take. This is now both pistols won as well by Heroic, so they're definitely giving themselves the best possible chance. It's not like we're talking about this being forced by victories and okay, sure, they had an upset round, but other than that, they have managed to keep things relatively clean. So you do just have to wonder if maybe that will be enough to sort of boost them past Big, because realistically in the buy rounds, we're still giving it over to the Germans thus far in the match.
Double digits for the Danes. As Down also hits above 180 are the new, or not the new, but still the young player on Heroic side of things that many are looking towards as one of the future stars of Danish Counter-Strike in the next coming years. Also on the other side of things, I feel like Big, at least this lineup, are setting a great example for the upcoming players in Germany of having a team that, well, I know Zontares is not from Germany, but he's learning the language. He's becoming a part of the team unit and setting an example for all the people living in Germany that it is possible to be a German player on a German team going on the top level of Counter-Strike. And I think that's very important for teams like the German one to develop in the future and create even more greater teams than the ones they already have.
Well, yeah, that was sort of the one criticism a lot of people always had of tabseN's career, is that he didn't want to move away, and he's made a lot of people look like fools. I will admit, like sticking with that German roster for a long time, slowly building it to the point where, well, they are now the best team in the world, and Heroic are trying to break that. Of course, as said, both pistols are sort of giving them what I would call a bit of an inflated scoreline, at least for now. It's when we get into the nitty-gritty, the buy rounds of things, whether we'll see if it's possible. tabseN, though, he was patient. He waited a long time to make sure he got that kill. It is only one of the SMGs gone, but anything else from here on, Risk, is a little bit more costly.
Kind of a small gap in the left side of that. I'm not sure if that's planned or if that's just the smoke landing incorrectly. But you kind of saw the T player just waiting a second. Should I take that? Is this a one-way for me? Anyway, it ends up towards being an A play. The bomb is slowly rotating in. Teslas will have to be the first one to start things off. He's waiting for the teammates. You can see it in their movement. They're communicating, planning how to attack this bomb site. Susan, though, with the scout.
Yeah, there's not much time either. 15 seconds left. There's still so much for the Danes to do, and 2 quick kills have just come up. I think this is done already. cadiaN's got to gain so much ground. He just doesn't have the time. And now it just comes down to if they can get the kill within the last few seconds. Nope. It's not going to be happening. This force buy, or this small investment, I guess you could call it, is enough for Big to steal a round away. And I mentioned how there haven't been a whole lot of mistakes from Heroic. That might be the big one.
Yeah, and you kind of have to wonder in this situation, as we do see tabseN's first kill here, like, when you can come in with Deagles, with the Deagle and the P250 and kind of get frags on a T-team as they are approaching the execute towards the side, if some timing is wrong, maybe Tesla should have been allowed to kind of open it up 1 or 2 seconds earlier, and the execute should have happened in mid-pace. Let's wait and see. That's definitely something you can look back on and kind of analyze on. Definitely when the teams do review of these games, that's something that Heroic are going to think about. It is going to be a buy, though, for both teams here. Tesla's with a Mac 10. Susan's still with a scout. He's saving his money as well. But Keto's gotten an orb. The CT side, they got all the weaponry. Got a bunch of AKs out as well. So a great round coming up, I think.
I'm actually surprised. I know that cadiaN is renowned for his scout play, but it's quite a high-pressure round. Both teams' economy is on the brink. He can afford an AWP.
Oh, for sure.
It's actually going to be Keto who has one. So it's a bit of a weird scenario, but if they make it work, they're going to look fantastic going forward. Financially, they're going to set Heroic's economy almost down to 0. And, well, I wouldn't be the one to bet against them at that point. But if Heroic can upset them here, bring it back, their buy's not bad. Sure, they've got a Mac 10 onto Teslas, but it definitely has its uses on this map. I'm not sure what's just happened there, but it's a smoke to the face, and tabseN actually being a little bit cheeky. It's so close to getting that duel. The flashbang over the top. All he has to do is pre-fire, and he almost goes down. The pressure on the rest of the site, though, has come in. Teslas with 2 kills off the back of that Mac 10. I said it was fireball, but that's ridiculous. And Borup, he's sneaky in the backlines. Zontares tries to do the same, but it's only for 1. And now Keto, with that mystical AWP, has to try and find 3 back. They've already won 1 of these rounds, and he gets away with the first. The wallbang doesn't quite connect, and he doesn't have a kit. So he's going to have to move very quickly indeed. And I think this might just come down to trying to save that AWP. There's no chance to win it at this point.
What a confusing round. Very high adrenaline for both teams as well. And in this situation, like in the last couple of seconds, maybe if Keto had a smoke to play around, a flashbang to play around, something could have been done, but you're right, the kit is not there, and neither is the time. So Heroic will get their round number 11, and to think that this was a 4 AK buy, but it has to be the Mac 10 that jumps in and gets the double entry. These 2 are the frags that kind of grant them the round, albeit it's not the full round that comes on the back of this, but that's a double entry in towards a hot side with only a Mac 10 in hand. Very impressive stuff, but as you also mentioned, Tom, it was on the back of the confusion caused by some of the other players.
I'm actually interested that they're going for a double AWP setup as well. Like, it's not even because, okay, Keto wants to have one. It's more because they could have dropped 2 rifles instead and then just given it to cadiaN. And it would have meant that tabseN has a gun as well. So they really are banking on both of these AWPs. They're going to have to be fairly proactive in this round. And, well, for now, you can see Keto just sat towards the back of the beast. He will get the first opener. And the flashbang actually denies Borup's push. Gives them the man advantage. With Tizium finding another elsewhere, this is actually falling apart a little bit for Heroic.
Yeah, that flashbang totally ruined the chance of a refrag. It was very obvious that they needed to get that done, but the flash denied it. 2v4 now. cadiaN and Nico. 2 veteran players of this squad. Shall try to work together to get this one done, to get this one rolling.
They're still pushing into the stack site risk. I'm not really sure how they're going to get this one through. Would need to be some pretty sick kills, and with Keto, he's just waiting. He's already seen the corner of cadiaN. He's lucky to get away with his life. He's not going to. In fact, Zontares again. This man and his wallbangs have ended this round. Nico has no choice but to just try and hold on to his rifle. There's absolutely no chance of him getting this bomb down him. I mentioned how these AWPs needed to be proactive. These AWPs needed to be successful. I was wrong again. It was tabseN with the MP9 that did most of the work.
Yeah, it's always the least expected weapon. But then again, I also think we have to kind of like reach out to Twitch chat here and say, we of course have the Centaurus peak, but we have to have a name also for now Centaurus wallbanging. Like, what should that name be? I'm not sure. Centaurus Bang maybe doesn't sound as nice.
Maybe just change it to VAC and then it works for both.
Because like, he is... yeah, he's been insane through the walls this game, specifically those towards B water. That has been a different story. All right, Heroic forcing up. There's an aggressive on mid, misses the first shot, but a very, very hard one to hit.
Yeah, this buy is really on the ropes for Heroic. They managed to win a few of them, but this could be the difference between, well, them still being in the lead and having a 4-buy and potentially the scoreline being completely even before they get another one onto the board. This is risky from cadiaN, but he gets the timing spot on. The shots, however, he only lands 2. And it is going to mean that cadiaN escapes just about with his life. Again, it's been a quieter match from him. Sontaras has spotted down. There's no way he's getting away with that. And tabseN still just having a phenomenal match. The double spray down into Monster. Leaves just 2 standing. cadiaN with a deagle and no armor. Nico at least with his rifle in hand. They've got no utility though, Risk. Again, how do they come back from this?
Yo, this is like, this round is already over. I don't think there's any chance of them winning this round. cadiaN 1v4 with the deagle. Not gonna happen. What I'm really interested in though is not what happens after this, because it's gonna be an eco. But what kind of strat, what kind of execute Heroic are gonna be calling in the next buy round. Because then it's going to be 11-11, and this is the kind of like point in time where I would suspect that if you had maybe 1 or 2 weeks crack on a map, then you can like T-side strats and T-side defaults will run out and you have to recycle. And you'll have not that like big book of strats of different stuff you can try, and depending on what kind of stuff the opponent is throwing at you. So I feel like I have a kind of a bad feeling about this when Heroic, when they're going to have this next buy, that it's just going to be a recycled round. Hopefully, they have something more than I would expect of them, that they have had time to create in this playbook. But let's wait and see. This one is not interesting, though. This is a full eco. There's 1 deagle on tabseN, and he's already down to 52 HP. So if they win this, this is a straight miracle.
He does connect the shot, but yeah, as you said, this would have to be another one of those rounds where we had sat with our head in our hands and questioning what Big have actually done. The thing that worries me most for Heroic is that so far we've seen some of the consistent stars of Big not perform, and it's this close. Like, sure, you've got Sontaras, tabseN's having a very good game, but tabseN and cadiaN have been fairly missing so far. And while I'm not going to bet on that for long already, it may be eco frags, but it's still clinical from tabseN. Easy for him to get overwhelmed in this scenario, and he's going to hit every single one. A 4K from him. If he's now added into the mix, I'm scared for Heroic.
This is also interesting because there's 43, 44, 45, but Tessa's on 37. That means it's going to be a 4 AK, 1 Galil buy. Or Tessa's could get a Mac 10 and then start rolling with that, but this is a tough time for Heroic, and they're taking a timeout, hopefully, from me and for the team, to follow my kind of prerogative here. It is to discuss what kind of execute they're going to go with. Maybe even a slightly, like, deviated performance from one of their usual strats. One thing we also have to sadly focus on is that Borb is on 36 ADR. It's been a player that I've talked a lot about having problems when the real pressure comes on. He's now in a final against the world #1. This is real pressure, and he's having trouble dealing with it. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, but he has still these kind of problems when it comes to the really big games, to the big opponents, to the hard matches.
Okay, cadiaN. He is not happy with patiently waiting, and this is going to be so much info. They already know that there's no one towards this B site. Sure, they've spotted the door being blown up, but do they expect anybody to be this far forward? It's a missed shot. I don't know how. The second time won't be and there's a Molotov to make sure that he can't be closed down. Spotting into the tunnel as well. We'll see nobody else, and I think Heroic have realized quite quickly, okay, we have to reclaim this ground before this gets out of control.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I was worried about. Like, this doesn't look as solid strategically as I would like Heroic to look, and also how solid they look on other maps with their strats right now. In the beginning here, just one Molotov shuts the whole thing down. They regroup mid-round call, something else is being built. Let's see if they have a good B execute in the strat book right now. The flash timing is perfect, but tabseN is still dancing around here.
Oh, he's using the pillar to his advantage as Barup now left 1 versus 3. Left completely blind, and you can see Big just patiently waiting. They've got 2 AWPs homed in on this position. Unless there's a big whiff, which maybe there was. keto a little bit slow on the trigger. tabseN, though, could just hit the timing on this peak. He hasn't been spotted, and Barup is still trying to spot the remaining player. Oh, he's going to see what? But again, it's another miss, and that causes the death of tabseN. It's now left in the 1 versus 1. Barup's not quite going to do it, but that was way too close for comfort. Both AWPers not able to hit their shots, and, well, thankfully, cadiaN will get there in the end.
Ice cold from cadiaN this round. 3 kills. I'm not sure how that not is... How's that not a hit? Okay, well, okay. You can see it not hitting, but still. Luckily for him, ice is flowing through his veins in this last 1v1. He hears the fake, and then just stands in his position, does not move. Heroic now on another eco, some pistol investment, some money spent because they have a big loss bonus. Let's see if this kind of speed can deny Big the defense.
keto's already gone. tabseN again, though. Start things off. They're so blind. So many flashbangs, and tabseN falls as well. They're at least making this costly. An AWP picked up this down, but not for long. And Zontaris again. This man is unstoppable. He's fragging out once more. He must be getting close to the 30 bomb. 25 and 14. There is no one in this server within the realms of tabseN at the, or sorry, of Zontaris at the moment.
Yeah, now we don't need to see, like, Heroic, they need to get this round right now. If they don't get this round, this map is over. And as I said before, I have my fears that with only 1 or 2 weeks of prac on this, they have not run out of strats, because you can always make up strats, but they have run out of set plays in the strat book. They're now recycling stuff, which is way easier to read. So we need to see something special, something individual from Heroic, I feel like, to bring this one back. And cadiaN is doing the opposite. He's playing aggressively. He's doing something individual. He's trying to hit the shots. Not a second one, though, for him. And a big risk taken. Nice push from tabseN. Once again with the timing. Great play.
Oh. Go gets the entry onto Zontaris. It's not something I've been able to say too much, but do they expect keto to be here? In fact, both players are going to be making their way through short, and that's the bomb down. The rotation from cadiaN wasn't quite quick enough, and surely they're not going to have any idea that keto's still standing in this corner. He goes out with the pistol. It's still the 1-for-1 trade, though. And NiKo is in with a chance. He's got a lot of time left on the clock. tabseN's going to rotate his way through towards the monster tunnel, going to take a bit of an off angle to try and surprise NiKo's peak, and he gets it spot on. tabseN has been fantastic throughout this map so far. 21 and 16, 100 ADR. I don't think there's anyone doubting him now.
Yeah, so definitely when you have a look at the pistols, you'll see that Heroic have won those. But if you have a look at 2 very important 1v1 clutches in the, well, second half, and also the ending of the second half as we're watching now, both of these clutches, both of these 1v1 clutches on the B-bomb side have gone the way of Big. So it's going to be, well, pretty much a little bit of luck one side, a little bit of luck the other side. But Big in general has been the better team. There's no other way around it. They have been the better team right now. Heroic calling another timeout. Hunden will have some more time to calm down the boys. But at this point, yes, their money bonus is going to be fine, so they can get a buy in every single round. But we're missing that X factor. We're missing that individual performance. We're missing that one clutch, that one thing to come in and reignite the fire. And Big Clan, they just got everything rolling for them. Because Zontaris having a great game, the aim style with the rifles. And you get tabseN stepping up, having one of his great games, which are pretty rare these days, but that doesn't really matter due to his role. What a nade! What a nade! 100 damage plus nade, but Testis doesn't care. Double A?
This is gone much better.
Okay. Testis again. He's playing aggressively. This is not how they played in the other execute. he will be caught off, but I kind of feel like it was the right call. Like trying to kind of irritate Big and hit them between their rotations. This is nice.
This is such a good angle. It's expected by Borup, though. An important check, which might just be the round. tician's still trying to search for Nico, and does he expect him to be just around this corner? His reads have been so solid, and he gets the timing right. Keto, though, he's going for the planter. He's not going to stop him. And maybe just needed to wait for this man here, trying to play with the door. He does bait out the shot from down and looks to try and pressure onto his position. He's going right through the smoke. It doesn't look like there's anything to stop tician at this point. He's feeling confident, and rightly so. The 1 versus 1 for tician, and he closes it again. This man is stopping everything Heroic have to offer. A 4K once more, and a 15th for Big. He wasn't in contention for MVP before, but of this map, I think he might be.
This is over. This is over. Big have won 3 1v1s in the last 4 to 5 rounds. There's absolutely no way that the confidence can come back from Heroic. They need a miracle to just bring this to OT, but imagine just sitting there, like in a fairly even game. Yes, Big have a bit of an advantage here in the second half, and then you lose 3 1v1s. There's just no way you're gonna come back from that confidence-wise, at least in this map. What a play from tician. What a play he has been in this map choice.
There's nothing else. He's just starting to spam people through smokes. Like, this is an unbelievable performance from somebody that we normally see as a more supportive member of this squad. However, it's not over until the fat lady sings. Even still, Keto is going to even things up once more. They are on map point, on their map choice. tician from behind is going to make things more awkward, as now they're surrounded, but Nico has found an important kill. tabseN with the trade. It's left to cadiaN, and they won't be able to do it here. From 8-2 down to a 16-11 scoreline risk. That was a masterclass again in comebacks from Big.
Very nicely done from Big, and as tabseN, he said, every single round where they have players alive, they feel like they have a chance of making the comeback happen, making the plays work, and they do in this round, thanks to Santaris, but mostly, I agree with you, thanks to tician. What a monster game from, as you said, the supportive player. He doesn't usually get this kind of ADR, he doesn't usually get these frags, but he has the potential, and don't you ever forget it.
Yeah, I think you could make a highlight reel of just this map alone for tician, but the Deska got to break that one down. I'm sure there's going to be a few rounds they want to look at after the break.
An incredible game would kick off the EU Grand Finals here at DreamHack Open Summer, and after a slow start, Big made those final moments count. A 16-11 victory, and with that, 1 up going into map number 2 of Inferno, and of course, 1 step closer to lifting the DreamHack Open trophy. But before we do that, we have got to break this one down, and of course, with the wonderful Potter and Blair. And Christine, it was a little bit of a slower start for Big, but they managed to turn their fate around entirely.
Yeah, it was a slow start. I'm not going to lie. I was getting a little nervous. Those first few rounds looked so dominant for Heroic. But one thing that I did notice was Big, they were doing their due diligence, honestly. They kept Heroic's money tight. And hey, when they capitalized on that swing round and opportunity, they were able to make that comeback happen. 8-7 half. I mean, fantastic performances from individuals. The map control that tician was retaking was incredible.
It really was, and you can see there on the scoreboard, tician topping the entire server in terms of ADR, and I think that is just spectacular. And of course, we cannot even begin to break this game down without breaking down round number 11, which was that moment tician clutched, and it was beautiful there.
It was something. I won't lie. I'm like, yeah, this one's done. You might get a kill or whatnot. I do have a little bit of stats heals for you guys. It's kind of like just watch the way this round plays out. Look at the guns that Big have. Deagles, a little bit of utility, a Glock in the mix as well, and tabseN with the Tech 9, right? It's going to be a fast play coming out towards Fountain. You're going to see cadiaN holding the angle. He's the player with the op. Bear that in mind. He's going to get taken down, but Tessa's the spray down from him. He finds 3 players. Xantares does get the trade, and now it's a 2v3. They've done the damage. Now tiziaN's going to come running up. He's going to pick up the AWP, and I'm going to jump a little bit further down the line. tiziaN now waiting towards an A bomb set. Vorb's holding a very, very narrow angle. Nico's ready for Xantares over here. Nico's going to get the kill on his Xantares. It's a 1v3. Now tiziaN, he doesn't sweat. He gets killed with Vorb, waits patiently. Now he spots out Nico. Nico escapes by the skin of his teeth. And now it's a 1v2. 40 seconds to work with. And tiziaN, he wants to get his kill. And Nico plays this perfectly. He smoked himself off, playing behind the smoke. A little bit of a duel. Now he falls back, teams up with stadiaN. And they have it shut down. Where can tiziaN go? He heads towards A. He's got to cross the off on stadiaN. He's got to come in from here, from behind bathrooms. And tiziaN's, he's got, I don't know how big his nuts are, man. 20 seconds on the clock. He keeps walking on up. And we always say clutches are made by mistakes. stadiaN misses that shot. He missed the shot. And now tiziaN, he heads straight to the B bomb side. He gets the bomb down, jumps on top of the box, gets Nico, and then of course closes it out with a little bit of a messy duel in the end, with a no-scope to seal the deal. We should be seeing, of course, the highlights as well coming up right about now. And this was, of course, Tess starting off with a 3K. But man, Potter, like tiziaN, he was something else today.
So damn good. And man, okay, listen, he missed a couple of shots there. He's not an opper, he's not the primary, but his big brain was able to convert that. And I wanted to touch really quickly on the round right afterwards on the stats Helix, wanted to touch on that due diligence I was talking about. And in this round right afterwards, we're gonna see Big, they're doing their due diligence, running a default, or so you think. Later on down the line, you'll see that they regrouped towards B. They do a simple contact B, and this is such the perfect timing because cadiaN, he's trying to keep mid honest, has no clue that majority of Big are taking on this B bomb site. If you could just go to the point of view of tiziaN here, you're gonna see him starting things off towards this B, staying anti-flashed, cool, calm, collected, finds that frag onto Vorb. He certainly thought he had the opening there. And if we go to Xantares' screen here, you're going to see that stadiaN is completely focused on that space that tiziaN is creating. So really, this was a well-oiled machine coming out of Big.
It really was. And I mean, it's all well and good making those flashy plays, but it's, continuing upon that momentum. And I love that you picked up on that, Christine. But of course, it's going to be Inferno coming up next. And we're going to see if Big can take it into here. I'm wondering from your side, Christine, are you thinking they're going to seal it?
Oh man, this is going to be tough. But I'm looking straight at stadiaN. We saw those double ops coming into fruition here on the CT side. It's going to be the same case for Inferno, and it's going to be the same case for both squads. So we're going to be seeing a lot of op duels going across the board.
I'm sure it's going to be neck and neck. And of course, Big looked convincing on that map number 1. But can Heroic bring it back on map number 2 of Inferno? Find out after this.